You are watching the #1 podcast in the whole entire youth wrestling community, and I'm one of your hosts, Wanzo.
And I'm your other host, Jean-Paul Leek.
Together we are
Robre.
Welcome to every single one of you that follow us in all our social media platforms, Facebook and also like YouTube. We're live to talk about Friday Night Smackdown. Not a bad show. We got a lot of cool things. We're going to be talking also about all these releases. We had to see a lot of names being released this a few days ago. So we have a lot to talk about and the show. The only thing, don't you think, that not a lot of a build-up for Hell in a Cell. We still don't know what's going to happen. No championship match. Seth Rollins is being an asshole. He loves to do that. He actually personifies that really well. So what do you think, Mr.
Yeah, I mean, they do a bad job, really building the pay-per-views and some of the matches that really could feel special. Like you said, there's no build, and then other stuff, there is build, and it's just... But, I mean, Hell in a Cell, it's just... The build isn't good. And it's a lot of matches that we've already seen. It's like Rematch Mania Part 2. So
yeah.
I don't know how really much you can get excited for it. And especially, like you said, you mentioned Rollins. It was supposed to be a big exclusive interview, and then he essentially says nothing.
That's it. That's it. So, we're going to be talking about everything. We are going to say things. We're not just going to grab the mic and we're not going to do that. So thank you to every single one of you. Don't forget to support us in every single video that we do. Here is the NXT UK review, a pretty good show. It leaves us with a big hook. It seems it's going to be a triple threat match. Paul, somebody in the comments said to me, what about Finn Balor? Instead of these three guys, what about Finn Balor? So,
I mean, yeah, Finn Balor, we've been saying that for a while, but I think, and maybe Walter, if he wins, maybe he'll challenge Finn Balor. Maybe that's next. Maybe he'll get through all three of these guys. But to me, it's the NXT UK championship. The title should go to a UK, guy who's wrestling on this brand. So I'm hoping one of these three, and I'm hoping Dragunov. But, this is going to be a good, let's see where this goes next week, and also make us Satomura, Kaylee Ray, the big main event for next week. So really looking forward.
We have a lot of things to look forward to here. So please don't forget, subscribe to the channel, on YouTube, on Facebook, follow us there. Also comment right now. Let us know what you guys think about the show. Later on, I'm going to be doing soccer. We're talking about Ecuador's game. So we have a lot to talk about, family. Pato, thank you. He's saying hi already. He says, hello, Jean-Paul. And he said it in perfect English. So there you go. So a lot of good stuff. But before we actually get in the show, let's talk about, these releases of the WWE. They dropped a lot of names. It was Wednesday. Buddy Murphy, Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Ruby Riott. A lot of people were dropped. They're going to have to find work somewhere else. And, what are your thoughts, Paul? And then I'll give you my thoughts about all of these things. Why are the WWE doing it? And why is Brock Lesnar now being advertised as an active member of Monday Night Raw?
Well, like we said, they're trying to trim the fat, and a lot of these people are expendable. Not saying they aren't talented, because a lot of them are. Obviously, you have two of them right there, Buddy Murphy, Aleister Black, and you got to think Aleister Black just had a storyline. He attacked Big E. What's going on with that? That's probably why we're not going to see Big E for a while, because they need to think of a new storyline for him. But it sucks that these guys are getting released, but like we said, they're trimming the fat of a lot of these unknown names. And Strowman, maybe they feel he ran his course. Maybe whoever they're, because to me, this is all potentially, they're getting the company as to be we're not spending a lot of money on these big contracts for a lot of these wrestlers. And our profits are up because, oh, look, we're going to have a lot of ticket sales because we just opened up the crowd. So it seems like they're trying to present the best package deal to sell to somebody. So that's how I see it. And that's what a lot of other people are saying. We're not breaking any ground here. We're saying it looks like, WWE is going to sell. The big, kind of hint and push in that direction was going to Peacock, was getting rid of their own network and all this stuff.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people are saying that there's these rumors that they're going to sell it. They're trying to do something like what Marvel did, or also Disney Plus. Maybe that's the reason. Also, big budget cuts. That's what Aleister Black said in one of his streams on the one of Tia Trinidad that does Selena Vega. He said that. I mean, yeah, they have really high contracts too. Strowman $1 million a year. There you go. And they haven't really used the guy. Aleister Black. The only one that hurts the most for me is Aleister Black, because he had a storyline. Supposedly he had a new theme song coming up. He had a lot of things planned already, and then absolutely done for no reason. So that's Buddy Murphy. After the thing with Aaliyah Mysterio and everything, completely on security. You know how they love to do that to Buddy Murphy. Alana, I mean, she's going to join Miro. So you know that's going to be okay. It doesn't really matter for her. Then Ruby Riott also hurts because, like she said, hey, if I would have known that was going to be my last match with, like, Liv, I would have enjoyed it a little more. But, I mean, the WWE is a company. They have to,
and I
they have to
mean,
make decisions, right? They have to do things like this. It's normal.
yeah. I mean, yeah, we said it before with all these other cuts, it's a company. They don't care. They're not a family. Maybe they should, but like, hey, things should be different, than they are, that's life. But, these people, they got released. A lot of them will be able to find talent somewhere else. Like we say, Braun Strowman, he might not be a good wrestler. Nobody might want to sign him, but maybe he can do an actor. Maybe he can go back to, he can be a bodybuilder. He can use his fame from WWE to get another job, even if it's not wrestling. So none of these people are going to be hurting. I would love to see Aleister Black go to New Japan.
That's what
I'd love to see Ruby Riott go to even like an NWA, wrestle in that women's division. She go against Thunder Rosa. Then maybe she, can appear on Dynamite, see, okay, do I want to join this circus? Okay, yeah, I will.
Or maybe Impact, maybe Impact.
Yeah, Impact would be a good one too.
Tennille,
And then I mean, think Buddy Murphy, he could go anywhere and be a star. I just don't want him to go to AEW and be kind of just like, oh, you're going to be on Dark and be on Elevation. He should go somewhere.
We're going to give you QT, right? And exactly. And all of that. Yeah. So don't forget, for the ones that are wondering, we will do Dynamite tomorrow too. So don't worry. Like, for the ones that loves us when we do Dynamite, we will be doing.
But it's interesting to see, where these people go, and even where the next batch of, or where the previous batch of releases show up, because we heard, okay, yeah, Samoa Joe, Mickey James, blah blah blah, but we haven't seen them yet. So to me, until we see them, it's all just rumor and hearsay. But it's interesting to see.
They say that the Slammiversary is actually going to have crowd, and the little bit of crowd that they're going to have actually sold out in like 2 hours. So like really cool stuff for like Impact. There's a lot of fans right there. They did have their fan base. So we're going to see what happens. And like I said, Mickey James, Samoa Joe, also like Daniel Bryan, they were hinting at that. Daniel Bryan's not going to show up on Impact. It will not happen. But, at least they throw the name out there so people get actually excited. So now that's our thoughts on that. Hey, good luck to every single one of them. Hey, they deserve to have a fine job somewhere else, like all of us. So, hey, it happens. It's part of life. We all at some point we'll get fired. So that's what happens. But this guy will never get fired. He's the tribal chief, the head of the table. Roman Reigns opens the show. He shows up, and he just pretty much just saying, hey, get my brothers. Wise man, get my cousins, not my brothers. Get my cousins. And, he's just talking about how they're going to have the title match with, like, the Mysterios. And he said, well, you guys wanted for this. You guys were the one asking for it. You better win. You better just bring the titles home because, don't embarrass me. That's the main thing here. And, Roman, right, like you said, in this new persona that he has is so collective. I actually, like I said, I'm not a fan. I will never be a fan, but at least I'm very comfortable seeing him on TV now because he does personify a good heel for me. I don't know what you think, but
you can easily tell that when Roman went away for a while, when he had leukemia and he was filming with The Rock, he picked up a lot of acting lessons, stuff like that. Because the way he cuts promos and delivers stuff, I'm like, he could be a villain in like an action movie. Do you know what I mean? Like he has that demeanor, you could easily see like The Rock being the hero going against Roman Reigns as like the evil, corporate, billionaire villain, spy, whatever, in those action, summer movies. But Roman is so good. And like you said, even if you don't like him, you have to at least respect him for how good he is in this role. And, he's playing as the unstoppable heel champion. And like you said, this promo, Jimmy and Jay, they're like, yeah, we're going to win. They're all excited. They're hyped up. Yeah, 7-time champs. And then I love when Roman says to Jimmy, he's like, Jimmy, why are you being bullshit? You have to acknowledge me. And he's like, didn't I already do that, Oos? When you choked me out? Yeah. And, everything. And he's like, but hey, let's not talk about that. He tried to like kind of shove it back in Roman's face a little bit, but also be like, nah, but let's not worry about that. So he's on his side, but he's also not on Roman's side. And that's like a theme we've been seeing.
He doesn't really want to say it. That's the thing. Yeah. He doesn't want to do it. It's just kind of like, yeah. I got you. It's like, he's just kind of like you said, like he walks around the subject. He doesn't want to say it. So like, That's how he's really like he's acting. And then just like, Roman like, one more time, he says, "Good luck, guys, but you got to win because again, everything reflects on me, the tribal chief. All our family are watching us, so bring these titles home when the night is over." So what did you think about the match, though? I really feel that like they had good chemistry, and it was the first time that like the Usos went against Rey Mysterio, and of course Dominic. But like that's something that Michael Cole even said on commentary. It's the first time that like Mysterio fights the Usos, so they ended up giving us a pretty damn good match. I enjoy this, and what do you think?
Yeah, this match was really good. The main story, like you saw Dominic early on, he looked pretty good, but then it was just Rey selling and the Usos just, the tag team offense. We saw how good the Usos really are. Like you said, these team, I mean, Rey Mysterio, we know he's fantastic. He can work with anybody. So, and the Usos, why were they called the best tag team in 2017? Because they're good.
That's pretty damn good, yes.
Yeah, exactly. And they to me, there's in 2021, they're just as good. And Dominic, like I said, he didn't look bad in there, but the main story was just Rey, trying to fight back, trying to make the tag.
This was a great spot,
yeah, like how he always does that sliding. Yeah, that sliding like suplex thing. And they did like you said, he caught him and kind of did the Samoan drop on the announce desk. And even when he did that, like the move was devastating, but the way that I almost forget his name, Pat McAfee sold it and was like, "Oh my God," and he's screaming and going crazy. It's like that's how you really sell something. That's exactly. Like when Jim Ross and the King and like when they would scream and sell something. That's how it gets you into it.
Even Ronaldo with Mamma Mia, like you never seen that before and you haven't. So and you see like the intensity and also like combined with the pain that you see like Jay and Rey. Great, just like that like it hurt. At least you think it did. So Dominic flying right there under the air. So like the Mysterios got the upper hand a little bit towards the end, but then Jimmy was the one that like was gonna go for the Uso splash, and then this happens. There's Dominic counters that, and then you can clearly see like the hand is actually up, right? And the referee doesn't see that, but in the end, the Mysterios end up retaining. So you knew that, like, when they did this kind of decisions, it was going to end up being another match later on in the night or maybe next week. You know that, like, a free, what is it called? Like a messed up ending, like a fuck finish. That what they said is like it calls for another match.
Yeah, and also when they did this match first and not the main event, that's also how I knew, okay, yeah, this is probably gonna, something's gonna happen that this will still be the main event. Because why would you put this match on first? This was the biggest, most hyped up match of this show. And like you said, Dominic rolls him up, but Jay's shoulder is up anyway. So,
you can clearly see it right there, right?
Exactly.
So everybody has doubts, right there. It says right there. So like you don't. Mysterios get the win. They supposedly retain. So right there. So he's pissed. He's absolutely pissed. Roman Reigns is really, really pissed. So you knew that was going to be the beginning of the story for like this show. And this was just terrible. Seth Rollins, with all these things, like, he's going to have, like you said, exclusive interview with Kayla Braxton. And we're going to hear from him and all the actions that, like, he did to Cesaro. I was thinking, like, here's where they're going to set up for Hell in a Cell. That didn't happen. Kayla just is asking questions, and Seth just put, like, the microphone down. He doesn't have any remorse, anything, like, about what he did to Cesaro. So really bad. I didn't like this at all. I don't know what do you think, but, like, this new Seth Rollins is absolutely terrible. I don't like it.
Yeah, because all she has, she's like, oh, what'd you do to, Cesaro? Do you want to answer for your actions? And he's pretty much just like, no, like, don't ask me that. Like, don't be a piece of shit. And then she's like, well, he's going to come back, right? Then what are you going to do? And then he kind of, like, freaked out like this. To me, I want Becky Lynch to come back and kick him in the nuts. Or maybe she took his nuts off when they had the kid. And, I don't know. But like you said, this character, it was good when he was like the Monday Night Messiah. Or like, the Friday Night Messiah, whatever the hell he calls himself. And he was kind of with Roman a little bit. And we were like, oh, maybe he's going to try to team up with Roman and be like, oh, yeah, the Shield, but then turn on him and try to go for the title and all that. But now this is just weird. I don't know if he's the one who's in control of the character and we should blame him or if it's creative, but it's killing this storyline. Like I know the match quality will be good with Cesaro and Rollins in a cell. In Hell in a Cell, but the way that you're getting me there, it doesn't feel good.
Yes, it's not that like you want to wait for it. Yes, because you're not even mentioning like these 2 weeks you haven't heard from Cesaro really and from Seth. So it's like already I'm forgetting that this is going to be taking place at Hell in a Cell. So no, I'm not happy with this at all. Like you said, he's fine being a heel, but like talking, being annoying, like this type of annoyance doesn't get me anywhere. Because Roman right now is being a better heel, and I want him like Rollins to at least be as good as Roman, meaning like delivering really good lines, delivering like all this like, oh, I'm arrogant, I'm better than you, and all of that. But no, it's not coming out that way. And the fact that Cesaro wasn't even in this show. So when he comes back, hopefully they set up for Hell in a Cell. But if it doesn't, then
But see, I don't like how they fast track it, because it'll be like he'll come back, he'll attack Rollins, and then Rollins will be like, you know what? We're gonna do this at Hell in a Cell. Instead of like, do something with Cesaro now, then maybe him and Rollins go at it and they're beating each other up, and it takes like all these officials to pull them off, and Adam Pearce is like, I'm sick of this bullshit. You guys are attacking each other. You're gonna settle it, once and for all. Then it's done and it's over at Hell in a Cell.
Yes, that's how they got to do it. But are they going to do it? We'll see. This is not good. And that's how we feel about this build-up of this match, because this rivalry, really good through WrestleMania season, now is just absolutely terrible. But this segment was really good for me. Roman talking to like the Usos, and he's like, hey, Jimmy, like you lost to a kid. The first line, oh, so legit. You lost to a kid, and Roman says, remember when you guys were like tag champions, you only were part of WrestleMania once. So then it's like, now.
Yeah, because he's like, you guys were 6-time champs, and you're only part of WrestleMania once. And I love like when he finishes his promo and he's looking at Jay and he calls him Jimmy, and he's like, yo, I'm Jay. And then Roman just shrugs and he's like, does it really matter?
Yeah, but that's great.
That's what it had like, yeah. And you saw Jimmy looked like he was going to snap. Like he was just so pissed. He was just holding it in. He's just like, no, like when your boss is yelling at you and you're like, you want to rip his head off, and you're like, no, don't do it. I need the money. You know what I mean? Like, okay. That's why, what have we been saying for how long? Like, this is great. This whole Roman family storyline has been carrying SmackDown. I mean, honestly, it's been carrying the whole WWE main roster.
It is, because, minding that role, you do it, and I always give you props for doing that, because that's absolutely a terrible show, and, like, that's the worst ratings this week. Man, and, is it bad that, like, every year we said the worst of all time? So, like, each year is getting worse rather than get better. So that's something that I like to keep in mind. But, like, now let's move on to the next segment. This is, like, the Street Profits with Chad Gable, and says, hey, man, to Montez 4, hey, you're like losing like the hype on like the splash. And then Angelo Dawkins, he says something like that, on those regards, and like just pretty much making fun of them. And then, he says, I want to join, and I join the academy, right? That's what he says. They're like, so no way. He's like, oh, we'll never do that. So you see that like they're setting our feud for them, and it's okay because they need something to do, right?
This is good. Because, maybe you don't like the Street Profits, maybe you don't like Otis and Gable or whatever, but this is good because we always say, like, can you have a feud that's not with the title, and then maybe whoever wins, they go and get a title shot? This is exactly what this is, so I'm fine with it. And, the Street Profits, they're pun intended, they're profitable, people like them. You're still featuring them on television.
Exactly. I agree with you absolutely, 100%. Let's go to like the most beautiful woman in the WWE according to herself, Carmella. She just says that, and she's gonna have a match with Liv Morgan that she's newly by herself because of the thing with Ruby Riott. So she says she's gonna beat her up. She's been a former SmackDown champion, all of that. So we hear from Liv. She has a good promo though. She's going to give you a makeover. Like, to me, you're a 7 at most. Once I beat you up, you're probably going to be better. All of that. So you see Liv Morgan, I was thinking, Paul, she's going to have the opportunity finally now. She's going to beat Carmella easily, and from here you start building. That's what I thought, okay? I'm like, she's finally without Ruby. A lot of people have said before that like she's going to get pushed as a singles girl. This is the opportunity. Did it happen? No. No. She got a pretty decent showing, I will say. But then Code of Silence.
And done. Yeah, that's what when I saw this, I was like, you know what? This could be her last match. She was rumored to be in the next round of cuts. There's the rumors. It's like Ricochet, Mustafa Ali, Humberto Carrillo, Keith Lee, Jeff Hardy, Liv Morgan. So a lot of like this second round could be a hell of a lot of big names. A lot of those guys are game changers, in other companies. So it's one of those things where you don't really know. You don't know who's going to get cut because nobody would have thought Aleister Black. He just had a storyline.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't doubt if this was Liv's last match. She looked pretty good in here. But like you said, the fact that she didn't go over, to me, I thought, this doesn't look good for her. But hell, even if she did go over, she probably still would have get fired anyway. So
It's true though. Like with the WWE, you never know. And like once she got in the code of silence, I'm like, really? Like, can she ever get the win? No, no, no. I feel bad for the girl. I mean, you date Bo Dallas. That's something that is being really bad already. You should just like don't, that's not something to be really proud of. And now this, I'm like, poor Liv. Like, the documentary that they did, they never cashed into that. Hey, you know what? You don't know what you have in the girl. For me, you could do something if you really know how to like make her a star. But like the fact that you are not able to do that, that's your own damn fault. It's not her, not at all. So you see, like Jimmy and Jay just asking for another match. They said, "Hey, you clearly see that like this is a mistake from the referee. Can we have another match?" Adam Pearce like, "No, we're not gonna do it." But then Sonya, so you see like the contrast in between both of them, right? Like Sonya's like, "No, we're gonna check the footage and we're gonna come up with a decision later on." So okay, yeah, fine. And then remember, the Mysterios are about to leave the building, so you gotta stay.
Yeah, like when you're about to clock out. So can you stay an extra 2 hours?
Yeah,
You're like, oh, okay.
That's how it was. Yes, no, I have nothing better to compare it with. And yeah, they should pretty much said that. It's like, oh, can you just stay a little longer and stop? And like, well, yeah, we're gonna have the match.
Can you do dishes and prep some corned beef? So
yeah.
Okay,
yeah, man, let's go memory lane with that, Paul. So that was okay. So now let's go with like this feud is actually getting weird because just the Fiend Bray Wyatt is not there. I guess they have to use the holograms that they have all the screens there right, they have in the Thunderdome. So that's why they did this. But like Bianca Belair just saying that she's been bullied, or like people have tried to like put her down since she was like 3 feet tall, all of that. So pretty much she just has like a thing to say to Bayley, and she challenged her for a match at Hell in a Cell. So Bayley comes out and she just accepts this. But like, you love this. Am I only the only one that was looking at the pants here?
Yeah, I mean, this is like. Bayley, like where she has kind of like the crazy hair a little bit. And like, I mean, obviously you see all these pictures. It's like she's clearly obsessed with her own fame, her, when she was a champion, whatever. And then when they cut to the screen, like you said, it was her laughing on all the screen. And it isn't just her normal heel laugh. They really told her to like play it up. They're like, be as obnoxious as you can be. And they kept playing it over and over in the speakers and like, not auto-tuning it, but like layering it and echoing it. And like you said, it was coming out of all these screens. And I'm like, I feel like Bianca Belair is like Batman versus the Riddler or something here. Like this was just so weird. And this to me doesn't hype up Hell in a Cell. Because Bayley, she was like, oh, I'm not even here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, all this stuff. If you wanted to hype up Hell in a Cell, that's what it should have been. Like this video here. And then Bianca starts talking of Bayley, like maybe come out from under the ring, or she jumps the barricade, or she's dressed up as one of the, cameramen, takes off the hood and the hat and then jumps in the ring and beats her with a chair. And it's just like, you want to go to Hell in a Cell? Let's do it. But like she beats up Bianca. So then people could be like, oh, Bianca's injured, her leg or her back or her arm, or like, yeah, maybe Bayley puts her arm in a chair and stomps it. Oh, now her shoulder and her arm is messed up. Now she can't do the KOD, kind of get a little bit of heat and some story going into the match at Hell in a Cell instead of this, stupid like super villain. Like, oh, let me just be on all this.
This is not good, and mainly because, like you said, this is taken away from the match. It's like when you use this stuff that like you use with the Fiend, I don't want to see it. The Fiend is like, where is he at?
To me, so again, it's like I'm like, is this like a female Sami Callihan? Yeah, like let me just hack the screens and do all this.
Yeah, like I don't like that. So like I don't know, like this feud. Okay, we know that they're gonna have a good match. But the way that they're building this Hell in a Cell is coming out really bad. So hopefully the pay-per-view turns out to be good, because when they actually have this awful build-up for all the matches, turns out to be that they say, hey guys, we saw that create him. Can you guys give good matches? Okay. So hopefully that's what we see at Hell in a Cell. But now we'll move on, Paul, to like, oh, Otis, our man. Right? He was legit. Now he's just like lost in translation. No talkie. Where once Saki have the 90-day close, the compete close, like we're gonna hear from him. So like he just wants an apology for what they say to Chad Gable, and they're like, oh hell no, we're not doing that. You suck too. Like where's Taki and all of that. So they go at him, and Taki ends up taking care of all the Street Profits. So that later on, what are they gonna have? They're gonna have a match, right? Do we care about this? No. Like you said, without the Roman family affair, this show will be as bad as
Well,
Monday Night
I
Raw.
mean, I'm not going to contradict what I said 10 minutes ago. I like that this is just a mid card feud building it up because I think the Street Profits are going to put over Otis and Gable. And, Otis needs to be pushed. The dude's talented. He's good, and like he's marketable because look at him. How over was Otis when he was doing the Caterpillar and everything with Mandy and Money in the Bank? You said it yourself. He at least, even if he wasn't going to win, at least cash in and have a match for the title, do
Yeah.
something with him. So to me, we see him on TV. We see the Street Profits on TV. Maybe we don't like them as much. You like them less than me. I don't hate them as much as you, but a lot of people do like them. So keep them on
I don't
TV.
want the smoke.
I have
Yeah.
no problem with this. There's a lot worse we could see, especially because I, watch and review Monday Night Raw. So there's a lot worse we could see
Oh no,
than
no.
this.
Jean Paul still has like nightmares when it comes to Monday Night Raw, and it's not the Rhea Ripley. He's other type of nightmares. So you know what gives me nightmares, Paul, is to see the same match 3 weeks in a row. That kind of bothers me, especially when you just keep playing with the winner. Like Shinsuke Nakamura, we get to see the King of Strong Style, and with Rick Boogs or Boobs, Boosh, whatever. Legit, like the guitar player, I think it was a little better this week. I don't know what you felt about it because like you didn't like it last week. But again, the same stuff. Baron Corbin is right there in the ring. The same introduction. It's like, am I watching last week's? I don't know. Can you
I
change
thought
it
this
for
was
me a
like
little
2
bit?
weeks. I thought this was like 2 weeks ago when he debuted. He's saying all the same shit, and like the guitar, it's always badass. I pop for it every time. But we see the same promo. Oh, you're disrespecting my crown, blah blah blah. Like you
Look at
said,
McAfee.
yeah, and you said we're seeing this match again. And to me, I'm watching it. Okay, a little bit. Okay, maybe I check my phone. I do this, and then the match is over.
Yeah.
And then Corbin just wins, and it's like so.
And just pretty much is using like Shinsuke's like ass to just like a pillow, sniffs the ass. Like he's the king of like sniffing people's asses. That's what it is. Like he's the king of doing that. I mean, if he wants to be the king, remember? I don't know if you saw he bashed a fan on Twitter that he said you should have been fired. He's like, oh, I can't believe that like somebody will like feel proud or joy over somebody else is losing his like livelihood and all of that. Well, I mean, if you're sniffing people's asses, you should lose your job. That's what all I have to say. And and Shinsuke then attacks the guy, attacks Corbin because like he was attacking Rick Boosh. His feud, it seems to like it's gonna continue. Why? This sucks.
Yeah, this to me should have been Nakamura 1 here, like clean, legit, looked strong. Again, no pun intended, but like looked strong in this victory, and then moved on to something else.
Exactly.
He could even move on to Apollo. Because what we saw with Apollo and, everything with that whole feud sucks. Kevin Owens and Apollo, that is,
we're going to
muddy.
talk about this right now. So we're going to like,
let's get into it.
Yeah, exactly. So before we do that, just, comment, family, let us know how you guys feel about SmackDown. Don't forget to subscribe. Help us out. We're almost to 1,000. Help us out to reach to 1,000 right now. We want to see everybody like just joining the original rubric. And before they have this Intercontinental Championship match, you see aces or assis, like the guys that have a big assis. So we're talking about assises with Baron Corbin and Nakamura. So there you go. He attacks Kevin Owens. So that, of course, is going to take away from the match, right? That's going to like make the match look crappy. And, like you said, this feud is not bad. It's not good because now that Big E also like lost Aleister Black that he was supposed to be feuding with, maybe they're going to put him in this again. So is it beneficial for Kevin Owens? No. He got good stuff with Roman Reigns. Now he's on again mid-card for life. Nobody wants to see him. This is absolutely bad. And Apollo Crews is like a heel. I'm not believing it anymore. It's not good. I don't enjoy it. What about you?
Yeah, and especially like you said, the way the match was set up, Kevin Owens wasn't going to come from behind and win like that because then that would really bury Apollo. How would he look? So we knew, he was going to win here. You knew like it wasn't going to be an upset or anything like that. And the match was mostly Kevin Owens just surviving, make a little bit of a comeback here or there, but like, okay, he's starting to make his comeback, starting to look good. Oh, let me hit the ropes to get momentum. Oh, when he hits the ropes, his ribs are hurt. Anything what happens, oh, the ribs are hurt. Oh, he gets a little momentum and it stopped. So Kevin Owens really never got that, comeback where that fire where you thought, oh my God, he's going to win it. Here it is. At least for me. And, I don't know. To me, like I said, it sucks.
It's not good. Like you said, like he tried. right there, he goes for like the Swanton bomb, and then Apollo like also
Yep.
like he counters that like with the feet up, all of
Yeah,
that,
with
and
the
then
knees. I mean, I did love like the ending, when he did the Death Valley driver on the apron,
yes,
put him back in the ring, 1, 2, 3. So, at least it wasn't like a roll up, or we saw Aces do like, maybe do like the Samoan spike or whatever they call, or Nigerian spike, boom. And then, whatever, like it, like behind the ref's back, it was just boom, the Death Valley driver, devastating move, pin him 1, 2, 3. But then, of course, they just couldn't, this is like AEW. You couldn't just go, okay, segment's over, move on. You have to have Fidel come out, and he's like, oh, I'm legit.
and
And he's
then
like,
he's legit, right? And then he's legit. Yeah.
yeah, then he beats up Kevin Owens, and he's like, oh, this is what happens when you kick a man who's down like you did to me, or whatever bullshit he said. This feud needs to go away.
No,
And it needs to
that's
go
what I
away
was going to
forever.
ask. Is like, why is this crap still on? Should have been okay. WrestleMania is over. Okay, you didn't have plans for these guys. You have this stupid match. We've seen it how many times? 10,000 times already. Get away from this. Give these two guys something else to do.
This needs to be a loser leave town.
Yeah, no, loser leaves
this
like the planet. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm so done with this. There's, this is bad.
Yes, yeah, I don't
especially because, like I said,
know.
Nakamura. Maybe do Nakamura versus Sami Zayn, and then Nakamura can beat Sami Zayn because they have a little bit of history, and Sami Zayn he's a lost cause on this brand. He's a lost cause in WWE. He should be.
All of them are.
Yeah, it's
they have nothing to do. You said they could be feuding between each other. Okay, instead of like Baron Corbin 3 weeks in a row, Owens and Sami Zayn for 3 months in a row after so many years that they've done this. So you only can feud with one person. There's nobody else in your roster. Then don't send people away. Then don't release them. Oh, yep. God, this is terrible. And these guys promise that they're gonna like get revenge on all these two. Do we care? No. Like I said to you, these guys. I mean, if they're not fighting for the title, at least like you said, put like Gable and Otis, give them the win. Give them the win. They need to something good, and these guys can put them over. Because I have the feeling that these guys are gonna go over actually, so I'm gonna get even more upset.
So, yeah, I mean, if the Usos would somehow be the champs, I can maybe see Otis and Gable, even though that's heel versus heel. But what are you gonna do if you do these guys? Because we already saw Otis and Gable versus the Mysterios. We already saw that feud. So unless you're gonna do the Street Profits versus the Mysterios, but then that's 2 baby faces.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what they're gonna do, but I think Otis and Gable should go over.
Oh yeah, they need to go over because, like you said, you can do with Otis so much. The guy's
and
great.
Also that solidifies Otis and Gable. Oh, they beat champs. These guys held the belts for like over 100 days or whatever it was. So it kind of gives them a little bit more momentum.
Exactly, but you don't know. Like you were mentioning, what if like they all of a sudden they release Chad Gable because Otis is not going to get released. You know that.
Well,
out of the two, Otis is actually more profitable than Chad Gable. So
well, yeah, but I mean, it don't matter. Maybe if they tell him, "Hey, you got to cut 50 more guys," Otis is one of them.
Oh no, you got to trim all the fat, and the guy, all is all fat. So like, you got to keep Gable rather than Otis. But that's me. Let's go to this match again, okay? Again, because it was the night to like do again matches, reruns, and all of that. So this one was also like good. Like the energy was right there. They want to have the championships. Like the Usos are really, really good. Like you said, like, and now that they actually have characters, it's even better. But the Mysterios also, like Rey, pretty legit. Dominic, 1 or 2 years, in, he's gonna be great. Hopefully, like you said, Rey gives him a mask. That way, you keep the lineage, like the cultural days and all of like the tradition. Because this guy is actually going to be really good. Once he learns how to like be like more powerful and violent, this is going to be awesome. So, what do you think of this?
Yeah, this was good, and it was just, I feel like in this match, the Mysterios, maybe it's because they were pissed, they were about to leave, about to go home and relax. Oh no, now we have to wrestle again. I thought they showed a lot more like aggression, and they looked a lot better in this match. But Rey looked good, Dominic looked good too. I think that's where he hit that really big DDT, on I forget if it was Jimmy or Jay, to prove Roman's point.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, they look good in this. And, as you're watching, you see time's ticking down. Okay, what's going to happen? Michael Cole's like, oh, my God, what's going on here? And then, to take us through what happened.
No, and then, like you see, like you said, like, I was thinking that the Usos were going to win. Actually, I'm like, oh, they're going to, like, fuck the Mysterios. I'm like, that's normal. They always have to do that crap. But, like, you see right there, and then it turns out to be a disqualification because Roman shows up. And then right away, he starts taking care of both of Dominic and Rey. He beats them up, spear, Superman punch for both of them, guillotine, all of that. So like Tribal Chief is just pissed because he said, you guys are not going to embarrass me 2 times in one night. So he says, I don't tolerate failure. I don't tolerate embarrassments. I don't tolerate that. I'm the Tribal Chief, head of the table. You guys have to deliver for me, so I got to come and do this for you. So don't send, a boy to do a man's job, right, Paul? So
yeah, but
technically,
you got to think he caused them to lose because it wasn't like the match was over.
Yeah, he caused them to qualification.
Yeah, so that I didn't really get the ending, but I think it's all just it saves the Mysterios from losing the titles, which to me is a good thing. They just won them. Let these guys have a legit title reign. It might be their only one as father and son. It should last longer than 2 or 3 weeks. And, this is good because you saw as he's beating them up, Jay is, right there with Roman. He's fine with it, obviously. But you see Jimmy, he's kind of like, hey, man, stop. Like, you did enough. Like, why are you being bullshit? Everything. And then he gets out of the ring, and Roman then, as like Jimmy's walking away, Roman then attacks Dominic again right away. So again, we see more tension going on between them, especially, on Jimmy's end. Well, really only on Jimmy's end. But, this is good. I like this whole thing with the family. The only problem is, and it's not even a problem, just because of how legit Roman is, but it kind of buries the Mysterios a little bit. How they just got like beat up, and it's just like so.
The two of them, like they don't even can do anything for Roman. You know what I mean? So like
the two of them had a better showing against Brock Lesnar than they did Roman.
And you know what that tells me, that like if Roman wants to be the tag team champion, he can take care of both.
Oh yeah.
And and that also buries the Usos because like my cousins together cannot do what I do by myself. So, that's what it was. And the one thing that you mentioned, this is the main story right here, is like, he does not care about Jimmy at all. He focuses on Jay. So like, he's like, you're not going to go with your bro. I'm your new bro. I make you main event. Forget about your Jimmy crap. Forget about like the one time at WrestleMania that nobody care about. I only care because it was actually against Ricochet and Aleister Black. It was against Sheamus and Cesaro. All of that, the bar. That's the only time. That was their debut at WrestleMania, because they were also getting used to just be at like the pre-show and all of that. But now it's just like, no, we're going to be main event. It's going to be legit. So that's how the show went off the air. I think that's pretty good. Pretty good. There's more things that they need to start building for Hell in a Cell. We don't know what's going to happen with Roman in the title. A lot of people say that he might not defend the title at all because there's not really a contender right there. So,
at Hell in a Cell, I would say he probably doesn't defend it. I would say that's a safe bet.
Yes, so he's going to be probably the main event is going to be McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, but that's kind of like I don't know how I feel, because it should have been maybe Cesaro one more time. I guess if you were going to give him the title there, but or like maybe Edge is going to take time off, so you should have like have somebody ready, or maybe Jimmy, but there's not going to have Jimmy. Jimmy's not going to have the match with him, because also it wouldn't make sense that he fights both of the Usos.
And like I said, I really don't mind it, because then at least it makes the WWE Championship feel special. That's the only top title on the show that's being defended. Instead of you defend all the belts on every show, then pretty much every show is a Clash of Champions.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely right. So
it's fine to leave some titles off.
Yeah, you're right though. Like the champion doesn't have to be in every single pay-per-view, especially if you have other matches. Promote other people. Since you have you're trimming the fat. Right, so you look a little like skinnier here. You look a little slim. Promote all the rest of the guys, the 7 women that you have in that show. And now, like you said, next Wednesday is going to probably 3. It's going to be Bianca, it's going to be Bayley and Sasha. That's it. Carmella, all of them. Bye. Nobody cares. So, family, thank you so very much for being with us. This has been the SmackDown review for every single one of you. For tomorrow, AEW Dynamite. We just got to watch the show, because as of right now, it's actually taking place. So we're not going to be like, talking and this watching the show, but be with us. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. Also, where else can they find us?
Make sure you follow us, Rope Break on Facebook, OG Rope Break on Twitter, Original Rope Break on Instagram, and right here on YouTube, the home of the #1 podcast, The Original Rope Break.
So family, in like 24 minutes or so, I'm going to be live to talk about soccer. Jean-Paul has to watch Dynamite, so we are actually, we're not going to even rest. We never sleep. We're going to be actually getting ready for more shows and more content for you. So be with us. We're going to be all soccer content. Mauricio's back. Mauricio's back. So here you go. Be with us. Comment also. So you and me have one more thing that is left to say. And that is...